Math 8, Unit 9, Lesson 1, Part 2, Introduction to Exponents. We're going to be going over definition and notation. I can use the properties of exponents to rewrite expressions and solve problems. Okay, first bit of vocabulary. A power is a repeated product of a factor. The base of a power is the factor. The exponent of the power indicates the number of times the base is used as a factor. So, this entire thing together is called a power. And it's got a base 1/2 and an exponent 5. The exponent 5 tells me how many times 1/2 is used as a factor. So that is a power. Powers actually include things like 5 squared. These are examples of powers. 5 squared, x cubed. 9 is a power. It's not written, but it's basically 9 to the first power. S squared would be a power. Anything with a base and exponent, and the exponent actually does not have to be written. X by itself is considered a power because it would be understood that it is to the first power. Okay, fractional and negative bases require parentheses to fully indicate what number is being used as the base. Okay, for example here, if I use parentheses around my base and I say -3 in parentheses to the fourth power, that means -3 in parentheses is what gets used 4 times. If I use it without parentheses, this is -3 to the fourth power. Now you can think about order of operations a little bit here. Exponents are done before subtraction. So this pretty much means I'm subtracting 3 to the fourth power. I'm subtracting 3 to the fourth power. That's essentially what it means. It makes the overall answer negative, whereas with parentheses it makes the base negative. Okay, here's an example with fractions. If I do 2/3 to the third power, where it's in parentheses, everything in the parentheses gets repeated and it gets done 3 times. If I do it without the parentheses, as you see over here, the only thing with the cube is the 2 up top. The 3 on bottom does not get affected. So you get 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2, all over 3. Okay, taking a quick look at what happens when you have negative exponents. -3 to the first is just -3. -3 squared is -3 times -3, which is 9. -3 cubed is -3 times -3 times -3, which, back to what we learned in 7th grade, negative times negative times negative. Well, negative times negative is positive, times another negative is negative, and that'll be 27 when you multiply those numbers together. -3 to the fourth power, well, negative times negative is positive. The other two negatives multiply to make it positive, so this is positive, and the numbers multiply to make 81. -3 to the fifth power will have -3 5 times. Well, 3 times itself 5 times is 243. Now let's consider what happens with the negatives. The negatives, we've got the first 2 make a positive, the third and fourth one go to make a positive. We've got the fifth one left over, making it negative. -3 to the sixth power, okay, I've got enough of them there. It'd be 729, and since there are 6 negatives, those will all come out to be positive. -3 to the seventh power is -2187. And one thing you should notice here, when you have a negative with an exponent on it, all of these ones are negative. And that's because the exponent is odd. And all of the other ones here, 9, 81, 729, those are positive because the exponent is even. So if you have a negative number as your base and your exponent is even, you're going to get a positive answer. If your exponent is odd, you're going to get a negative answer. Okay, let's look at rewriting products using exponents. This is just the definition of exponents. -7 is used as a base 3 times. So this is -7 to the third. Example B. Pi is used twice, so it's pi squared. R is used 3 times, so the bases are, the exponent's 3. So this is pi squared r to the third. Okay, next one, rewrite using exponents. Well, you can see that -4 is used as a factor 5 times. So -4 is the base. I need to use parentheses to hold that negative, and it's to the 5th power. Write the product using exponents. All right, on this one, you can see 1/4 is the base. It's what gets repeatedly multiplied, and it's multiplied 5 times. So this is 1/4 in parentheses to the 5th power. Example B, 0.3 is used as a base 4 times. Now I put parentheses on those. Let's think about that for a second. Do I need parentheses? The answer there is no. Parentheses are not needed because they will not change what I end up doing. With or without parentheses, I'm going to do 0.3 multiplied by itself 4 times. Now x happens twice, so that is x squared. Okay. We'll also look at evaluating. Now remember, evaluate means to find the value of. So we're going to find the value of -2 to the 4th. So we're going to use the definition of exponents to write it out. That's -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. And then we multiply that out. We do get 16. Now if we do the same thing without parentheses, we are doing -2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We only get the negative once. We don't do it for every factor. And that gives us -16. Important thing to realize here is that when you have a negative, whether it's in the parentheses or not, affects what the answer is going to be. Okay, example 2. Evaluate 3 to the 7th using the definition of exponents. So this is not typing into the calculator 3 to the 7th power. It is using the definition of exponents. The definition of exponents is that I use 3 as a factor 7 times. So I'm writing 3 multiplied out 7 times. And there we go. Now evaluating that, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81, 9 times 3 is 27. Oops, that's 81, not 80. 81 times 27, I believe, is 2187. But I am going to double check that on my calculator. I guess I could on the calculator just type in 3 times 3 times 3. That's 3 of them. The 4th one, 5th, and 6th, and 7th. So I've got 3 times 3 all the way on there 7 times. And it comes out 2187. So we're good on that one. Okay, important vocabulary and things you need to understand. Power. A power is a base and exponent together. Remember, it could include things like x squared, 9 to the 4th, 3. 3 is a power because it would be understood that the exponent is 1. X to the 14th. Different things like that. Okay, a base. A base would be the number that gets multiplied a certain number of times. For example, here, x is the base and it gets multiplied twice, which actually is the exponent. And right here, the base is 9 and it gets multiplied 4 times. Oops, I'm putting these arrows in the wrong position. Don't want to be confusing here. Okay. And then you also need to understand the definition of exponents. For example, on the power 9 to the 4th, this means that 9 gets used 4 times. And that is the definition of exponents. It's where exponents come from. Now, in your practice, on number 1, you're going to rewrite the product using exponents. Do not evaluate. You're just going to rewrite it using exponents. 2 is evaluate using the definition of exponents. So you do need to use the definition to rewrite the product out and then evaluate it. Number 3, you're going to do a solve problem. Number 4, you get to do a graphing problem. Number 5 is from unit 3 on parallel lines. Number 6, you're going to find the volume. This is just, it's spherical, so you'll just use the spherical volume formula. Number 7 is a situation problem where you get to use exponents as a factor several times. Number 8 is actual. This is from music theory. They tune pianos and stuff. And there's a few things to do, especially with this function, which is actually called an exponential function, which you will study in 9th grade. Thanks for watching.